friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Mimi. I am the creator behind n.r.b crafts, and today I am going to show you how I created my first clay tumbler. I am not an expert in clay tumblers. This is just kind of something I wanted to try to see if I can make it. And so I'm just going to show you guys the process that I used to make my clay tumbler. There are a lot of great sculpting artists that create tumblers. I will also link all of the materials that I used in the description, and like I said, this is my first time creating a clay tumbler, but if you guys have any questions, I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, my cuties, so this is the long-awaited video. I kept posting about this in my Instagram and a few little shorts here on YouTube, and it's finally here. So we are going to start off this tumbler by conditioning our polymer clay, and I am using this mold so that I can create my little flowers that are going to be on the side of my tumbler. So after I conditioned my clay and put it on my mold, I did have a little bit of an overlap, which is what you see me cutting here. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have cut it off because most of my flowers popped off after I baked it. So it is something you want to keep in mind. Like I said, I am not a professional at this. This is something that I just wanted to try, and I'm still kind of getting used to the feel of working with clay and how to bake it and all of that fun other stuff. So I am hopefully going to start doing a little bit more of the clay tumblers. I know there's a lot of other amazing tumbler artists that sculpt on their tumblers. I am not one of those yet. So, um, like I said, I'm going to keep practicing, and this is just kind of me just conditioning all of the colors that I'm going to use. They are pinks and nudes, and some of these pinks have kind of like a shimmer to it. So, like that dark pink that you see is kind of like a shimmer clay, I guess. And then like that off-white is also a shimmer. So I will have this specific clay linked in my Amazon favorites so that if you guys would like to purchase this particular clay, you guys can. So it is the Sculpty brand, and like I keep saying, I am not an expert at this, so I am just kind of going to press my flowers on to the tumbler as best as I can. I am also going to use kind of like this little baking tool that I found at the dollar store for my tumblers. And I mean, it's for cakes, but you can use it for your tumblers to just kind of like push down a little, which didn't necessarily help because, like I said, most of my flowers popped off after I baked them. So either way, with all of the mess ups that I had on this tumbler, I still think it turned out pretty cute. So I also wanted to announce that from the 26th to the 2nd of April, I am going to have a sale for 10% off on my Etsy for all of the digital items that I have in my Etsy. So you want to take advantage of that 10%. Now is the time to do it. So I am just going to, like I said, randomly just put all of my flowers, and I'm kind of going in not any particular pattern. I just don't want a lot of the same colored flowers next to each other and the same kind of flowers. So I did mostly like daisies, roses, and then um, it's kind of like a, I don't know, there's just a lot of different kinds of flowers on here. So I will have also the mold down in the description if you guys would like to purchase this particular mold. I think my next clay project that I'm gonna do is probably gonna end up doing like a short tumbler that's like a 12 ounce, but like wrap it all in flowers. So I don't know if I'll do a tutorial on that, but either way, I will probably end up doing that sometime this summer. So, like with everything, we always get busy with different things, and my health hasn't been the best. So, right now, I am just kind of trying to get it done one day at a time. So, um, like I said, I did end up actually having to condition more of certain colors because I didn't make as much of those colors. So when I went to bake this tumbler, I actually followed the instructions from another creator here on YouTube on how to bake them because I had no idea how to do this. So the way that I baked it, that this particular artist mentioned, and I will try my best to put her in the description. The video that I watched for baking this. So I put my tumbler in a cooled oven, and I preheated it to 220, I believe it was. I'll have everything down in the description and hopefully a little bit more explanation. So um, I baked it at 220. No preheating the oven, it was just cold. So then you let it preheat with your tumbler inside. You don't want to open the oven door at all. So let it preheat, and then after it preheats, bake it for about 20 minutes and then turn it off. Still not opening your oven door. It is going to kind of just create a kiln effect, like how you do when you do like a pottery with like actual like clay. So it's going to create that effect in your own oven. So after you do that, just kind of let it cool down without opening the oven door. So I let mine cool for about 3 hours after it was completely cool. And like I said, all of my flowers fell off. So I just grabbed some Gorilla Glue and I am putting my flower clusters back on to my tumbler before I go in to glitter. Although I probably should have glittered and then applied the flowers to it again. Um, but I still like how my tumbler turned out. So, um, yeah, so I'm just gonna put on the flowers. I am going to also kind of um, wrap it in saran wrap just to make sure that my flowers don't necessarily shift a lot. So then I left it about 24 hours before I applied my glitter just to make sure that my glue was completely cured. So after that, I am using Brainstem from the glitter pharmacy to glitter the rest of my tumbler. So this, like I said, this was just kind of an experimental tumbler. So I had a lot of mess ups on this tumbler because I didn't necessarily know how to go about glittering the rest of my tumbler. So I ended up actually like glittering this tumbler like 3 times. So just to make sure that I didn't have any like streaks or anything on the tumbler. So as you can see, I was kind of like doing this in sections at first, but then I just went in with just covering the whole tumbler with my Mod Podge paint mixture that I created. And you do want to be careful because this particular glitter isn't necessarily like a full coverage glitter, I guess you can say. So like if you have streaks under your, like in your paint or in your glitter, you will notice those streaks. So that's another reason why I had to end up going in like 3 times and glittering this tumbler because of the fact that I could see the streaks, and it was actually really annoying to me seeing all of the streaks that I had on the tumbler. So after this, I am going to epoxy my tumbler. So when I go in to epoxy, I am actually going to start off by using a paintbrush that I will no longer be using for any other projects, and I am going to brush on my epoxy onto my flowers first, and then I am going to apply the rest of the epoxy onto the glittered section. So like this is just like an old paintbrush that I had that like it does work perfectly fine, but I got it like in a bulk pack at Ross or something, so it's like I have a bunch of these. So um like I said, I'm kind of just brushing on the epoxy, making sure that I'm not going to have any puddles on any of the inside creases of the flowers. So for some of these that have like a thicker like hole, I guess, or like a little divot in the flowers, I tried my best to apply the epoxy and just kind of move it around just so that I can still have the texture of the flowers on my tumbler and not just completely have it with like covered in epoxy that you couldn't feel the flowers, I guess. So like it's not going to be a giant blob of resin so that you can actually like see all of the details. And even though like I said, I did mess up a lot on this tumbler, so if you guys um are Tumbler artists that sculpt, I salute you, because this, even though I did use a mold, it was very hard to do and to finish off. So I am, like I said, I'm going to just apply this, and I'm going to turn my tumbler every like a little section after I finish it, so that I can make sure that that epoxy is not going to put like pool in certain areas of my flowers, and also so that my epoxy can start leveling itself while I am doing this. So even though I did do this, I did have some pooling on some of the flowers, but I am hoping that with time and with practice I can actually get a little better at creating sculpted tumblers. So once I finish this, I am just going to let it spin and dry. Like I said, I am doing this section first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and epoxy the glitter part just like I would normally, but just being very careful at where my flowers start and end and when I go to epoxy my glitter. And I did speed this up a little in like a time lapse just so that you guys wouldn't be here, because it did take me a while to finish epoxying all of my flowers and the glitter. So after I do this, I am gonna go in and sand my tumbler, the rims of my tumbler, so that they are perfectly, that I can seal them perfectly. I am going to go in with another layer of epoxy after I finish sanding my glitter and, having everything done. So with that flowered section, I was just super careful to not try to not sand on the um clay flowers, because I know it's kind of weird when like it's gonna be all scratched up on the clay part. So I'm going to remove the excess epoxy that I have on my rim, and I am going to try my best to sand my rim so that I can have that little area of exposed tumbler where my glitter is, because when I did put my flowers on, I actually did end up trimming a little tiny bit from the top so that I can put down my, if I did have epoxy there, then I could just cover my flowers and it wouldn't be that bad and it would all be sealed up. So I do have a little bit of epoxy on the top of the flowers so that no water gets into where that area is, so that it won't create molding or anything. So I am going in kind of like a 45-degree angle, a little bit off first, and then I'm gonna try my best to go in where my flowered section is. And to be honest, it was like nerve-wracking the whole time that I was sanding this. So like I said, I am just going to finish epoxying this tumbler, and then I will be finished with the tumbler. If you guys would like to see the finished result, this is basically it. It's just going to add the whole other layer of epoxy. But if you guys want to see the whole finished result, then you guys can go ahead and head over on to my Instagram and see it there. So like I said, I am having a 10% off sale in my Etsy shop for all of the digital items that I have created. It will run from this Sunday, so the 26th, all the way up to April 2nd. So it will be one whole week. So, take advantage of that 10% off. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys have any questions, I will try to the best of my ability to answer them regarding clay tumblers. Or if you guys have any questions on any other tumblers, feel free to let me know, and I will try my best to get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!